This is the Yokohama Geolander G015, a tire that might not be shouting from the rooftops, but it's quietly earning its stripes as the most comfortable all-terrain tire out there. And no, this isn't marketing fluff or sponsored content, it's just the real deal. Released back in 2016 as the successor to the Geolander ATS G012, the G015 was designed to fix what its predecessor lacked, and they definitely nailed it in the comfort department. We know this for a fact because we've already rated it as the best all-terrain tire for comfort. You can catch it in our best all-terrain tires video, definitely worth checking out. Now the real question is, how does the G015 tire perform in other key areas besides comfort? Well, it's time to find that out. Let's start with its design, specs, and sizes before jumping into how it handles in wet, dry, snow, and off-road conditions. So in terms of sizes, things are pretty straightforward. You get 109 total sizes in 15 to 22 inch rims, up to H speed rating, 3 peak mountain snowflake rating, and so on. I also managed to calculate the average data checking out all these sizes. Turns out its overall average tread depth is 14.5 by 32 inches, and weight is also pretty light, just 44 pounds on average. Feel free to pause the video here to check out all the other details and sizes specs while I discuss its design features. Now when it comes to the structure, there's a lot to unpack. The Yokohama Geolander G015 might have a traditional 5-rib design with 4 circumferential channels in between, but it's packed with features that make it stand out. The 3 ribs in the middle are equipped with zigzag in-groove notches running in both longitudinal and lateral directions, adding extra bite. Plus, you've also got plenty of offsets and chamfered edges along with powerful wave-like interlocking siping, providing decent traction. The shoulder lugs carry similar design elements but with a bit more aggression. They've got more pronounced notches and serrated outer margins. Sure, you won't find proper mud scoops like you would on more off-road focused tires such as the BFG Go3 or the Duratrack RT, which by the way I reviewed on my channel, but for an on-road oriented all-terrain tire they are more than adequate. And yes, the sidewall lugs follow the same trend. They are functional enough, but not overly aggressive. Let's talk about how the Yokohama Geolander G015 handles on the road. We put it up against some of the most popular on-road oriented all-terrain tires out there like the Toyo AT3, Kumo Road Venture AT52, BFG Trail Train, and Wildpeak AT Trail, and it really impressed us, especially when it comes to braking. In most of its sizes, the G015 showed the shortest stopping distances on dry roads, coming to a stop about 6 feet shorter than the BFG Trail Train, which was the biggest difference we saw by the way. And while its wet braking performance wasn't the absolute best, it was still pretty impressive, only allowing a few of its competitors to outperform it. But when it comes to handling, especially during aggressive maneuvers, the tire does show some room for improvement. Like in our slalom tests, the steering response was a bit sluggish, mainly due to its pliable rubber compound. It's like the tire hesitates before reacting to your steering input, which might give you a slight feeling of oversteer. Now before we get into the winter performance section of this tire, a quick note. We've teamed up with TireDriver.com, which means some exciting videos are coming your way. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss them out. And if you're enjoying this video so far, a thumbs up would really help us out. The G015 really knows how to keep it together when the temperature drops. Its flexible compound is thermally adaptive, keeping all these biting edges grabbing onto the snowy road, delivering solid traction and earning the tire that 3 peak mountain snowflake rating. Now, when it comes to winter performance, the BF Goodrich Trail Train is kind of a benchmark. I mean, it's the best winter performer in the on-road oriented all-terrain tire category. So it makes sense to see how the Geolander G015 stacks up in comparison. And well, there's good news and bad news. The good news is that surprisingly the G015 kept up with BFG Trail Train in snow handling, delivering very similar lap times on average. But on the flip side, the tire didn't quite hit the mark when it came to braking. On snow, for example, it took about 5 feet longer to stop on average, and on ice the difference was even greater, where the tire took 10 feet more in our tests. Talking about rolling resistance and fuel economy, the Yokohama G015 doesn't quite measure up compared to others in its category. Basically, the tire's softer rubber tends to flex more, which turns more friction into heat, so energy isn't used up as efficiently. And since the G015 is on the softer side, it's not going to really impress you in terms of wear as well, despite its chip-resistant rubber. From my experience, a set of G015s that mostly stayed on the road lasted around 40 to 45k miles. For reference, the Toyo AT3 managed to reach 55k miles. But yes, the good thing is that the Yokohama still offers a 60k mile warranty with these tires. When it comes to off-road performance, the Yokohama Geolander G015 is decent but has its limitations. Let's be real, these tires aren't going to blow you away off-road. So I kept my testing to easier terrains, and for the most part, these tires handled okay. But if we're strictly talking about the downsides, you should know that these tires would have greatly benefited from wider outer grooves and proper staggered shoulder blocks, which would have avoided mud packing on them. I mean, these tires get packed with mud very quickly, losing traction. And yes, of course, I also missed the sidewall lugs on these tires, which would have made a big difference on rocks in particular, especially when running with lower air pressure. So, what's the final verdict on the Yokohama Geolander G015? Well, hands down, this tire is the best when it comes to comfort. And in terms of performance, it provides superb dry and wet braking along with solid snow handling. And yes, I know it's not made for very aggressive off-roading, but the thing is, it's still not that great on milder terrains as well, especially in the mud, so keep that in mind. But hey, I've got you covered for that. Check out my channel for all sorts of off-road tire reviews and comparisons to find the tire you actually need. If I were you, I'd start with the best all-terrain tires video. The link's in the description. Also, please consider liking and subscribing to show your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.